5 facts you thought were true about ancient Egyptians.
Number 1. People who built the pyramids were not slaves. A tomb discovered said to be 4,000 years old belonged to the Pyramid of Giza. The supporting evidence that the people who built the large structures were not slaves but paid workers. A modern 2.74 meters or 9-foot shaft had 12 skeletons of pyramid builders very well preserved by dry sand. Next to them was the builders' belongings for an afterlife that contained jars of beverage and bread. The tombs discovered had no valuables, which saved them from tomb raiders throughout the years. Furthermore, their bodies were not mummified, and the skeletons were found in a fetal position. The skull was pointing to the west, and their feet were positioned to the east, following ancient Egyptian belief. They were also surrounded by jars that were filled with supplies for the afterlife. Mr. Hawass said, "The men who built the pyramids ate meat regularly and worked in 3-month shifts." The tombs that were discovered close to the Giza pyramids extending outside a burial location was found back in the 1990s, dating to the 4th dynasty, about 2575 to 2467 BC, on the border of present-day Cairo. Chief archaeologist Mr. Zahir Hawass mentioned that the discovery shows the workers were given salaries, which indicates that they were not slaves. The former director of the Berlin Museum, Debunking, mentioned that the people who built the pyramids were paid workers. Common knowledge in serious Egyptology. Mr. Debunking also commented, "The myth of the slaves building pyramids is only the stuff of the tabloids and Hollywood." He also said, "The world simply could not believe the pyramids were built without oppression and forced labor, but out of loyalty to the pharaohs." Mr. Hawass said the workers came from needy families and were respected for their work, to the point that the ones who died during the construction were given the honor of being buried near the sacred tombs of their pharaohs. The closeness of the workers' tombs and the manner of their burials, preparing them for the afterlife, supported the concept that they were more than likely were paid builders. Mr. Hawass said no way they would have been buried so honorably if they were slaves. Number 2. Women had social and legal rights. Women had more rights than you probably thought. For example, they owned their own property. Yes, their own property. Not what a lot of people had in mind about women from that era. Not only that, but they were also treated the same as men in the court of law. Many ancient depictions of women shown to be very active in society, where women are party guests and temple staff. Another depiction where women are harvesting wheat. Another one showing them dancing and singing and enjoying their time. They were also seen doing vital tasks such as tomb inscription. They were professional women involved in funerary, politics, and religious activities. They had the right to inherit without the consent of a male member from their family. They had complete control of their finances and spending. What is also worth mentioning about the ancient Egyptian is that they viewed women as producers of life because they gave birth to children, which highly regarded part of their civilization. Number 3. Not everyone was mummified. The mummification process was very complicated process back then and maybe even today. Therefore, it wasn't affordable to get mummified back then because it was costly. So not every citizen of ancient Egyptian society could afford it. The most common people who could afford the mummification process were people of high social status, nobility, and of course royalty such as the pharaohs and their family. Basically, when a person dies, they take him to the embalmer to purchase the best plan for the deceased loved one. And they're given three plans: premium, which said that the dead in the afterlife will be represented by Osiris. The second one is intermediate, not entirely represented by Osiris. And the third option is kind of sloppy, and you might get some respect in the afterlife. The nobility can easily opt for the first option since money is no object. The embalmer who performed this highly respected ritual were at the same time temple priests. However, they weren't your average priest because the mummification process required the understanding of the human body parts. The procedure itself was severe, and the embalmer has to go through the rigorous training and recite special prayer during the mummification procedure. Number 4. The pyramids are massive tombs. The pyramids were a big giant tomb for the pharaoh to protect his body because they believed the preservation of the body is essential so it would be recognizable by his soul in the afterlife. In every pyramid, there is a sarcophagus or a casket made from heavy materials to protect him until the journey to the afterlife. The pyramids were filled with all kinds of treasure, and most of it belonged to the pharaoh to help him gain back his power when he's resurrected. His pricey possession was nearby, such as clothing, jewelry, stone carvings, luxury items, food, and even a boat. So they built these vast constructions to last forever and withstand the harsh weather throughout the years. The death of the pharaoh was an event of high importance, has something to do with the rise and setting of the sun during the life of the pharaoh, represented the deity Horus, which believed raised the sun while the pharaoh was alive, and when he's dead, represented Osiris, which he who sets the sun. Number 5. Cats were sacred. It all began with the mythology when the sun deity Ra became very furious with mankind and wanted to punish them for their sins and misbehavior. So he sent his daughter, Sekhmet, to restore law and order on the land. Sekhmet had a lion head, and she was a very powerful, violent daughter. Apparently, she was fierce in punishing people on her father's behalf. Ra regretted sending his daughter and wanted to calm her down from the blood she's spilling. Her father gave her a type of red beard that made her calm and gentle, and transformed from a lioness into a peaceful, loving cat. The Mao, as it's called in the ancient Egyptian language, was a sacred animal. They gained their respect because they hunted and wanted pests such as snakes, rats, and scorpions that many times attack the granaries or food storage. Mafdet or Mafdet is a cat deity that has a female body with the head of a cat who protected people against scorpions and venomous snakes. She's also the protector of the king's chamber along with other sacred places. Evidence shows cats receiving the same mummification quality as their human parts, indicating their importance in ancient Egyptian society. Killing or harming a cat was considered a severe crime, possibly punishable by death. When the cat's life in the family home sadly comes to an end, they would seriously become very upset and a funeral is arranged to bury or mummify the cat if they could afford it.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe, share, and comment, and hit the bell for future videos.